welcome to Let's Design the App Store Part 2. We're just going to hop in and see how much we can do. If you didn't catch Part 1, go there right now. Anyway, let's get started. Alright, so let's just remember where we were at the last time. We're here with this today view, and it's looking just perfect, just snazzy. So now we want to work on the games view. So basically the games view, the apps view, and part of the arcade view actually look quite similar. They use a lot of similar aspects. So what we want to do is, first of all, the games view has this top little scroll thing going on. Then beneath that we have almost like a collection view, a grid view going on here that's scrollable. And that's basically what happens over and over again. Then we have this other little one with a bunch of images. And that's just all kind of like repeated over and over again. So first of all, let's go ahead and get like the title in there. And it also has like the person in there as well. So in order to do this, this would be quite simple. Let's go back into our body here. We're going to say navigation view. I'm going to put all of this into a navigation view. I think we're just have to go with our workaround way. So that's where we got to grab the H stack here. And then, yeah, instead of having this navigation bar title, which would be the ideal thing, I think there's got to be a way in which we can create like a navigation bar, like a custom navigation bar in which we have like a title and an image next to one another. And that looks like what they did here. But at the moment, I don't know how to do that. Maybe we can come back a little bit later and clean this code up a little bit. But I think this just works for now. So from here on, we got to give it a V stack here. Then we put in the header code that we had last time, and perfect. And now with this navigation view, we just got to disable that for the time being. And that gives us a better overall look. And we don't want this Wednesday, April 15th. We just want our today. And that looks good. Oh, and with this hello world, I'm just going to take that out. All right, so now that we have that in there, we also want to add another scroll view within this. So the scroll view, this one is going to be upon a certain axis. This is going to be the horizontal axis. Shows indicators. Do they show indicators here? Nope. So we're just going to say false. And our content will be a couple things. So we want to create almost like a list of items. So I'm going to go down here, and we should actually create this in another file. Let's create a new file. We'll say featured post view, in the which we're going to import some SwiftUI goodness. Then we create our structure. This is going to be featured post view. And I forgot, we can't have the name of the file and the name of the structure the same. So this is going to be featured post page. And then feature post view. There you go. Now we're going to say this is a view, open close parentheses, and then we're going to say var body. Now we can open up our canvas and start editing this thing up a little bit. Okay, so within here, we're going to create a new structure. This is going to be our featured post previews. And then within this, we're going to put in our featured post view and so on. All right, so now with this, we need to put some things inside of our post. So I'm going to put some text in there first of all, just to see if that works. And let's try resuming this, see if we can get some editing stuff back in here. Oh yeah, and this is giving us a little bit of a trouble, so I'm just going to put some text in here for now. And that should get rid of that error that's going on. All right, so now if we were to resume this, try again, we should be able to see hopefully our featured post view. And it's doing this to me where I probably gotta just cancel out of Xcode. These things happen. It's programming for you. And it's completely broken. Oh, that's what I did wrong. It's featured post page dot Swift. I erased the dot. I erased the dot. Yay! Alright, so now we have this back. We have functionality back, it looks like. So I think we're good. Rule of thumb, kids. Don't take out the dot in your .swift file. Kind of breaks it. All right, so now we have our feature post view. It has some text, everything built and ran perfectly. Now let's try and get this working where it actually shows like an image and shows all the things that I want it to. So first of all, it has like a call out title. It says like new update. So we want to get that in first. So we're going to say this is all within a VStack, it looks like. And this VStack is aligned to the leading. All right, so now with the spacing here, it doesn't look like they really use any spacing. And within the content, erase the content part, put the parentheses, and now we're good. So now within this, we have a text. This is going to be like new update. Our frame of our VStack should just stretch out all the way. So I'm going to say, just give this a frame of width of 0, max width of infinity, and we'll work on the height later, and the alignment will be leading, I think. Yeah, there we go. All right, so with that also, it looks like we might have to add some padding, but we'll see. All right, so now for this text new update, we're gonna say our font will be equal to, look at a little caption maybe? Yeah, it's a little tiny thing. And then our color, our foreground color will be equal to .blue. Next, underneath that, we have another text. So this text is going to be like the title. So we should actually create variables for this thing. So I'm going to say like var caption text will be equal to string. And this should be colon string. That way we autofill everything. And then we're going to say our title text will colon string as well. Then we also need like a little subtitle. So I'm going to say subtitle text colon string. So for our caption text here, we're just going to put in exactly what we put up here. And this is going to be our caption text. Then we also need our title text here. And then we also want one more text that's going to be our subtitle text. All right, and then once we have that, it looks like we need to autofill all of this stuff in here. So caption text will be equal to new update. Our title text, I'll just write whatever is here. All right, so now if we were to resume over here, we should be able to see like 3 texts on top of each other. Perfect. The Sims free play, that looks normal to me. But the Bonjour from Paris, it looks like that just needs to be faded out a bit, but it actually does look like the same font size. I honestly would try and make this like .font .sub headline or something like that, like a tiny bit smaller, but I feel like that's just personal preference. And then we're gonna give it the foreground color of gray. And that's exactly how it looks. Then within this, we also need an image. So I'm going to give this an image. What image are we going to put in there? Perfect. So I've got a good Sims image right here. I'm going to take this and we're just going to drop that right there. So now we've got the original.png and we're going to throw that into our assets. All right, so now we've got the original. Now if we go over here, let's go to our image. Let's type in original. Let's resume that. And as you can see, our image is huge. So we need to go ahead and say .resizable .frame. And then for this, we need to mess with like the height only. You can see that the width is all right. It's already got that padding, but our height is a little off. So I think I just might make it 300. Like we're going to make this very basic, just like constants. It even looks like it needs to be smaller than that, maybe 200. 250. I feel like that looks pretty good. That looks very similar to the one that we actually get in here. So I'm happy with that. Then with this, they also add a slight corner radius, a very slight corner radius on here. So I'm going to say .corner radius will be equal to like 5. All right, and now we have the image. So that's also another thing. So within this, we also need to say var image colon string. So within this, I'm going to go ahead and put in our image that we're passing through. Then we need to put this down inside of our preview. Everything's running good on our featured post page. Now let's take this, put it inside of the scroll view. So within our games page here, within our scroll view, we're going to put in our featured post view, in which we need to put in all that information. And as you can see, it's giant. And so this is why it's important that we actually go to our featured post view. And we actually add, instead of just having an infinity width, we could also add that right inside of here. So width, and I want to access the screen size because that's what they do. So UI application dot shared dot windows, and then we'll just grab the first one that comes out of there, and then we'll get the frame dot width. Perfect. And then we just want to knock off maybe like 40 because of the padding. So we'll put all of this UI application within parentheses here. We'll say question mark 0, and then we'll add minus 40 at the end there. Or maybe minus, what is our padding? That's really what it is. Our padding, let's add a padding of 10. And that way we know that we have to knock off 20 only. And that's perfect. All right, so now if we go back over to our games page, now we have, boom, our featured post view. And if we were to add a couple in there, let's see what happens. So if we load that up, we should be able to see that we have a few. Oh, yep, there we go. Perfect. So now we have that little scrollable view. So apparently we can't just enable paging as easily as I wanted to. So we'll come back to that another day because I want to just continue on. We have a good look going on, but yeah, we'll come back, add paging another day. So now we need to get a grid in there. There isn't like a really simple way to get like a collection view inside of your application. There's not a UI collection view anymore, so we have to find like a workaround and get our own way of doing it. But I found a way, so let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to go ahead and create a couple structures down here. One of these is going to be an identifiable. This is all the data or information that's going to go into our cells. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be my game data, and then this is going to be an identifiable. And then inside of here, we're going to say var ID will be equal to UUID, open close parentheses. Var name will be equal to a string. What else does it have when it lists the game? So we need the name, the subtitle, and also the image. So let's go ahead and say var image will be equal to a string as well. Var subtitle will be equal to a string. And to just keep things like normal, let's say var title will be equal to string. There we go. And then we want to take all this, and then we put this inside of a storage area. So we're going to say var struct game storage, open close curly bracket, and then we're going to say var our this is going to be specifically talking about like one section. So for this section, it's like what to play this week. So this is going to be like var this week's games will be equal to an array of our game data, and then we need to populate this a little bit. So the ID will be UUID, open close parentheses, title. I'm just going to put this as archetype. The image that we're going to use is actually one of the logos. I put that right inside of my assets here. It's the archetype logo. And I'll just use that for all the cells. It's fine. Archetype logo. And then the subtitle here is going to be the best dang app out there. And I'm just copy and pasting that a lot so that we have a good amount of data to go within our app. And I feel like that's a good starting out point. So now that we have this data, we want to plug this into our games view. So I'm going to say var. Oh, and also I keep forgetting to do this. This should be game storage where it's capitalized in game data. My bad. Oh, that's right. So let's go back here. Let's go to game data and let's edit all in scope. There we go. Now everything's fixed. Everything's nice and dandy. All right, so now we take this and we want to put this inside of right after our scroll view here. So first off, this is all a complicated kind of process, but bear with me. So we got a VStack, then we have to have a scroll view. And this scroll view will be a horizontal scroll view. Shows indicators will be false. They don't show indicators here. Our content, we're going to say, we're going to go back here real quick. And then we say open curly bracket. And then for this, we want to say for each in data. And so for this one, it's going to be 0, dot dot less than, and then 3. 3 here is the number of rows. If you want to make this more editable, which actually would be a good idea, we're going to say var num of rows will be equal to 3. And then our content, we're going to go back on this a little bit and say open curly bracket, close curly bracket. Then within this, we want to create an H stack. Oh, and this should be for row in. And then for our H stack here, we also want to do another for each. So we're going to say for each, open parentheses, in which we grab this. For this, it gets a little bit interesting. So we're going to say 0 dot dot less than our game storage dot this week's games dot count. We're not going to use the ID. And then for the content here, we're going to populate it with a cell. Now, how we populate the cell is the part that's confusing, and I'll show you why. So first off, let's go ahead and say text. We want to populate everything with some text. Oh, and then this also needs column in. Oh, and it's got to be self. All right, and let's put something in the text just to make sure. Let's just say hello. All right, so there you can see now we have a horizontal scroll view. There you go. And it's aligning everything and doing everything properly. Now, how we populate this with data gets a little bit confusing. First of all, let's make sure things are working fine. So we're going to still work with this text. And so we're going to say, do some math here. All right, it's going to be all right. It's not too hard. So we're going to say our row multiplied by our column. Let's just see how that looks, and you should be able to see that it lines everything up and does a neat little thing like that. Also with this, we want this to have like a constant frame. As you can see, it does like a cascading kind of thing. So I want there to be like a constant width of like 100 for now. And then alignment will be the leading. And there you have it. So now we have like a constant thing going on. First off, as you can see, this is way more data than what we have in our game storage. This is because we need to go to our for each column here and we say divided by 3. And now it should fit like the proper amount of stuff that we put in here. So we're going to say column plus 1. We're going to put these in parentheses. Now you see we have the columns. There's 5 columns in total. Then we multiply this by 3. Now what does that do? It gives us this. Then one more parenthesis here on the edge. And we're going to say minus our row. And now you can see we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, up to 15. And so now it's iterating through each and every one of those. Now, for indexing, things start at a 0. So what we need to do is also right outside of this whole thing is we're going to say minus 0 or minus 1. So that we start at 0 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way until the end. And there we have it. Now, something about this, as you can see, the 0 starts at the bottom. Now, how you would change that, I don't really know at the moment. You would just have to play around with things, honestly. For all intents and purposes, this will do the job. So now, we have this information. This is how our rows are going to work. So now we want to actually populate this with some view. So let's go ahead and create a new structure. I'm going to say file, new file, and this is going to be, we're going to reuse this in a lot of places, so this is important here. So I'm going to call this my horizontal scroll view or page. So I'm going to import my SwiftUI, then I'm going to say struct horizontal scroll view view. In which we're going to say var body. We're going to say var data will be equal to an identifiable. So with this, we're using game data at the moment, but in the future, we definitely need to get this better. So now inside of our horizontal scroll view, we want to take all of this information, the VStack and everything. We're going to just copy that, and then we're going to put this inside of the body. Okay, so I'm actually wrong a little bit here. So we actually want to just feed in the array of the storage that we're doing. So I'm going to actually say var items colon, and then this will be equal to an array of game data. All right, that's better. And then now down here, instead of saying number of items, we're going to say items dot count, and then divide that by 3. That way, when we call it in here, we can just feed right in here our self.gameData or GameStorage.thisWeek'sGames. Now it knows it's building a horizontal scroll view based off of this week's games. If we were to build it on this again, I think it would give us the exact same thing that we have now. And yeah, so there we have it. As you can see, everything's functioning as it should be. Perfect. Now let's actually get something going on in here. All right, so now we have like a little space that we can work with this. So now let's go ahead and create like our item. So we're going to go ahead and create a cell for this. So I'm going to say struct game cell colon view var body some view, and then within this we have what? We have like an image, then we have some text and whatnot. So first off, we need to have an H stack. Then we have an image. This image is going to have my archetype logo. My frame is going to have a width of 50 and a height of 50 with an alignment on the leading. And then I'm also just going to add the corner radius right now because why not? And we're going to make that like a corner radius of 20. I feel like that's too big, maybe like 10. And then from without this, we're going to go ahead and say H stack, open curly bracket, close curly bracket, in the which, oh no, this is actually going to be a V stack, in the which we want to add what? Our title and our subtitle. So I'm going to go ahead and create a text here. This is going to be our title, and then this is going to be our subtitle. Now I'm just putting like normal text in there for now, but we're going to create some variables in just a second. So now if we take this and let's put in here, instead of like some random text, we're going to put in here our game cell. And also with this, we actually want to give it some data, right? So we're going to say var data colon will be our game data. Perfect. That's exactly where we get into the items, and then we just put right in here all of this junk that we made earlier. And now it should grab the proper item for the right time. What do you mean you're unable to type check this expression in reasonable time, eh? So it seems like we need to grab that game data somehow, but the problem is we can't do all of this fancy smanchy calculating in the meantime. So we need to break this up somehow. But the problem is we can't just be like, because this is SwiftUI, we can't say var like current cell is equal to all of this stuff, right? I'm sure it's going to give me some kind of error. Yeah, it says closure containing declaration cannot be used with function sub blah 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 blah. So how do we break this up in a way that we can use it? Is that where we say like function determine current cell, in which we want like a return statement of an integer, and then from within this we just say like the current cell, we're going to have the row, we'll have an integer, and then we'll have the column as an integer as well. And then what we do is we're going to say return that. Maybe that would work. And then we just call that right within here. We're just going to say within our self.items, we're going to say self.items.determine current cell, in which we feed it our row and our column. And maybe that would work. Let's see. And it looks like we need to say self. All right, let's try that again. We broke it up. Now we have it in our own personal little function area, and boom, look at that. That kind of looks cheeky. That looks really cool. Now, obviously our game cell here needs some padding. Each of these is going to have like a certain frame. A frame will be, how big is it? It doesn't fill the entire screen. It's like a good portion of the screen. But I would say that it has like almost a fixed width, because when you like tilt it, or if you look on it on an iPad, it has the same width everywhere that you go. The height looks all right to me. I feel like that doesn't need too much changing, and the alignment will be the leading. And there we have it. Now we have that. If we were to go into our games page right now, we should be able to see that addition right inside of our application as well. I'm going to go ahead and put a divider right in between that so that we get that like little fancy line. And lastly, before we finish off, I'm going to go ahead and say the image will be equal to our data.image. Our title will be equal to our data.title. And then our subtitle will be equal to our data.subtitle. Now, if we were to look in that inside of our games here, let's resume. And hopefully nothing crashes. And it looks like we got Architab, the best dang app out there. But definitely our image isn't loading properly. And maybe that's because we need to say it's like resizable. And there you have it. Boom. There you go. Man, that was easy. And then for our VStack here, I also want this to be .leading. And there you go. .leading. Everything goes out there. All right, we'll make this look a whole lot prettier the next time that we come. But for now, I think that does it. Hopefully you guys like this tutorial. Hopefully you guys are liking this series on where we're trying to build the whole app store. I'm actually learning a whole lot, and that's why I like doing it. I'm sorry that it took me so long between part 1 and part 2. I will try my best, but these videos do take a lot of time. And so bear with me. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao.